You ever stare at your game library, scroll for way too long, and think, man, I wish I could relive some of these classics, but better? Well, guess what? Some of them actually did come back, and not as lazy ports or nostalgia cash grabs. In this video, we're diving into 7 RPGs that didn't just survive the test of time, they broke free from it. Whether you're a longtime fan or just RPG curious, stick around, because one of these might just become your new obsession. Let's talk about one of the weirdest and most underrated gems from the PS1 era that finally got the second chance it deserved with a solid remaster. I'm talking about Saga Frontier Remastered. And it's not here to hold your hand, explain every mechanic, or follow a neat little storyline. It throws you into a chaotic world where 7 different protagonists each have their own story, and you're left to piece things together on your own. Sounds messy, but that's exactly what makes it so cool. Each character in Saga Frontier has a completely different vibe. One's a robot learning about emotions. Another's a magician with a tragic past. There's a secret agent, a monster, a wandering swordsman. It's like 7 different games in one. And they all share the same universe, so their stories cross over in unexpected ways. You might see the same city or villain show up in multiple storylines, but from totally different perspectives. The remaster doesn't just boost the resolution and call it a day. It adds new content that was cut from the original, including a whole new protagonist, Fuse. He ties all the stories together with his own detective-style campaign, and honestly, it brings a lot more cohesion to the overall experience. You also get fast-forward options, better UI, and smoother combat transitions. The combat system in Saga Frontier is where things really start to shine. It's turn-based, but instead of just picking the strongest attack and moving on, you've got this system where characters can suddenly learn new techniques mid-battle, called Glimmer System. There's also combo attacks, where your team members chain moves together to unleash these flashy, high-damage sequences, and figuring out which skills link together is half the fun. Some characters learn new skills through repetition. Others evolve by absorbing monsters or upgrading their robotic parts. Each character's growth system feels totally unique, and that keeps the gameplay fresh no matter which storyline you're following.
The spell of Darkova is still affecting.
Imagine a game that looks like a painting in motion, where every frame feels like it was handcrafted by a fantasy-obsessed artist. That's what Odin's Sphere Leaf Thrasier delivers from the moment you hit start. It's not just a remaster, it's a complete rework of a cult classic that takes everything that made the original stand out and cranks it up to 11. The story unfolds in a world teetering on the edge of destruction, where 5 different characters, each with their own perspective, get pulled into a war filled with betrayal, lost love, and ancient prophecies. You'll switch between them across a massive, interconnected narrative. One moment you're a Valkyrie torn between duty and desire. The next you're a shadowy prince running from his own destiny. Now, let's talk combat, because this is where Life Thrisser truly leaves the original in the dust. The old version was beautiful, sure, but it was slow and clunky. This remake throws that out the window and gives you smooth, high-speed action that feels closer to a stylish 2D hack-and-slash. Every character has a unique fighting style, from fast aerial combos to heavy-hitting magical attacks, and you can chain everything together in a way that just feels satisfying. Upgrades got a full overhaul too. Instead of being stuck grinding for hours, now you earn skill points and unlock abilities through branching trees. You can specialize your character in tons of different ways, from critical hit builds to status effect mastery. It respects your time but still rewards exploration and strategy. And the best part? If you mess up, you can respec. There's also a surprisingly solid cooking system. You collect ingredients from enemies and the environment, then cook meals to boost your stats. It sounds weird, but it's genuinely addictive. You'll find yourself hunting for rare onions and dragon meat just to squeeze out a few extra hit points before a boss fight. Visually, the game is jaw-dropping. Vanillaware didn't just clean things up, they redrew nearly everything. The animations are buttery smooth, the colors are vibrant, and the environments range from eerie forests to volcanic wastelands, each packed with detail. Even the enemy designs are memorable, from towering beasts to creepy, twisted fairies. Legend of Mana drops you into a blank map and says, build your own world. Literally, you place the towns, forests, and dungeons wherever you want, and the way you shape the map actually affects what quests you get and how the story unfolds. The combat is all real-time, so you're moving around the battlefield, dodging, attacking, and chaining combos without dealing with turn-based menus. Each weapon type has its own moveset, and depending on how you fight, you unlock different abilities called special techniques. These aren't just flashy finishers, they're tied to your playstyle and get stronger the more you use them. And while your AI partners can be a bit clueless at times, there's co-op support too, so a second player can jump in and help out. And if you're into crafting, buckle up. You're not just collecting loot. You're breaking it down, combining materials and fine-tuning weapons, armor, and instruments with specific stat bonuses and elemental properties. There's an actual science behind it, with hidden formulas and outcomes based on the order of ingredients you use. Then there's the monster farm. Early in the game, you unlock your own backyard barn, where you can hatch eggs into companion creatures, feed them different items to tweak their stats, and even train them to fight alongside you in battle. It's a strange system, but super satisfying once you figure it out. Visually, everything looks cleaner and sharper, but they didn't mess with the art style. Those hand-painted backgrounds still look like they were pulled straight out of a storybook, just way less blurry now. The character sprites pop more, and the UI finally got a well-deserved polish, making menus and inventory way easier to deal with. They also added a proper autosave system, which is a blessing considering how easy it is to get distracted chasing side quests. And one of the best quality-of-life updates? You can now turn off random encounters at any time. So if you're just trying to explore or hunt for quests without getting interrupted every 5 steps, the option's there. Oh, and the soundtrack got a full reorchestration, but if you're feeling nostalgic, you can switch back to the original tracks with one click.
Sound of the ocean, but for the first time.
Diablo 2 Resurrected is the kind of remaster that doesn't try to fix what isn't broken. Instead, it takes everything that made the original a genre-defining classic and gives it a serious visual upgrade, along with smart quality-of-life tweaks you didn't even realize you needed. It's the same brutal, addictive RPG that ate up your weekends back in the day. But now it actually looks like the hellish chaos you remember through rose-tinted glasses. The remaster doesn't just crank up the resolution and call it a day. It's a full visual overhaul built on top of the original game engine. Every model, texture, lighting effect, and animation was rebuilt from the ground up in 3D, while the core logic of the game remains untouched, keeping the classic feel exactly as you remember. Spells look more explosive, environments feel richer and more immersive, and character designs finally have the detail they always deserved. Inventory management is way smoother, and things like auto gold pickup and a shared stash remove a lot of the old annoyances without messing with the challenge. The campaign remains intense and full of atmosphere. From the scorching deserts to the decaying temples, every act feels distinct and packed with lore, tension, and danger. The story picks up after the events of the first game, with the hero from that battle now corrupted and wandering the land as the new Dark Wanderer, possessed by the Lord of Terror himself. You follow his trail across cursed villages, haunted tombs, ancient ruins, and demon-infested jungles, uncovering a much deeper conspiracy involving the 3 prime evils: Diablo, Mephisto, and Baal. You choose from 7 classes, each with unique skills, strengths, and playstyles. Whether you're summoning skeleton armies as a necromancer, teleporting and casting chain lightning as a sorceress, or jumping into the front lines with a whirlwind barbarian, each class has its own identity and depth. And loot is the lifeblood of the game. Everything revolves around hunting for better gear. Weapons, armor, charms, runes, and rare items drop constantly, and even a small upgrade can turn the tide in a tough fight. There's a certain thrill in grinding through a dungeon, watching a legendary item pop out, and realizing it opens up an entirely new strategy. Quick pause. Drop a comment and let me know which remake or remaster you think deserves a shout-out in the next video. Bonus points if it's underrated or totally chaotic. Comments really help feed the algorithm and keep the channel rolling with fresh content. And yeah, I actually check and reply to all of them, even the weird ones. Also, if you're enjoying the ride so far, hit that subscribe button. It's free, painless, and honestly the best kind of peer pressure. And don't forget to check out the instant gaming link in the description. Any game you grab through there helps me keep the lights on, the coffee flowing, and maybe even upgrade my potato of a setup, so thanks in advance. It's kind of wild that we're living in a timeline where Super Mario RPG actually got a full remake. I'm talking ground-up modern visuals, buttery smooth animations, and that same chaotic mix of platforming, turn-based battles, and comedy that made it a cult classic back in the day. And honestly, they nailed it. The original came out during the Super Nintendo era, right when nobody expected Mario to dive into RPG territory. But here's the thing, it worked. It brought in all the charm and color of the Mushroom Kingdom, but layered on top of it was a surprisingly deep combat system, party members with actual personalities, and a world that felt way bigger than any Mario game before it. Now in the remake, all of that is back, but upgraded. Visually, it swaps out the old pixel art for a vibrant 3D style that still feels playful and nostalgic, like a toy box version of the Mushroom Kingdom. The UI got a full revamp, making menus snappier and easier to navigate during battles and inventory management. One of the biggest quality-of-life upgrades is the snappier movement and better platforming controls, which fix a lot of the clunky issues from the original game. They also tweaked the timing windows in combat, so action commands feel more responsive and rewarding, especially when trying to land perfect hits or blocks. And then there's the new triple moves, these flashy combo attacks that unlock based on your current party setup. For returning fans, there's extra post-game content including new rematches with powered-up bosses. So even if you've memorized the original, the remake still has surprises. You've got Mario, of course, but also fan favorites like Geno and Mallow, plus Bowser and Peach teaming up in ways that feel weird at first but totally make sense the deeper you go. It's one of the few Mario games where the usual good guys and bad guys join forces without it feeling forced or awkward. Each character has their own combat style. Mallow's got lightning and healing, Geno dishes out high damage with flashy attacks, Bowser's the tank, Peach is the support, and Mario's the all-rounder. And the dialogue? Still full of that quirky fourth wall-breaking humor that made the original stand out. Characters react in the most dramatic, over-the-top ways, and the game never takes itself too seriously, even when the stakes are high. Romancing Saga 2: Revenge of the Seven is one of those games that hits differently once you understand what it's trying to do. It's not just a visual upgrade of an old-school RPG. It's a complete reintroduction of a bold, experimental system that was way ahead of its time. You take control of an empire across multiple generations, and every major decision you make, every battle, every alliance, every fallen hero, shapes the future of your kingdom. One emperor dies, a new one rises, and the legacy continues. The 2024 remake doesn't just clean up the edges, it completely rebuilds the game from the ground up in full 3D. The visuals now have a bold HD style that feels like classic pixel art brought to life, with smooth animations and expressive character models. The UI was totally redesigned to make everything more intuitive, especially during combat. Now you can actually see turn order, health bars, and status effects without digging through menus. Formations and class choices are easier to manage, and you've got over 30 unique roles that evolve depending on how you develop each emperor's bloodline. The new United Attacks mechanic adds an extra layer to strategy by letting party members team up for special combo moves. You can also expect modern comforts like autosave, difficulty options, and map markers to help you out. But if you prefer the old school feel, you can disable most of them. The soundtrack was fully reorchestrated, and all the dialogue is now fully voiced in both English and Japanese. And for lore nerds, there's extra content that expands the backstory of the 7 heroes through time travel shrines that unlock new scenes and boss fights. The combat system in Romancing Saga 2 is turn-based at its core, but one of the standout features is the formation system, which lets you organize your party into specific layouts that change how they perform in battle. Some boost defense, others increase agility or spellcasting speed, and characters don't learn new skills by leveling up in the traditional sense. Instead, they spark new techniques randomly in combat, which means the more you fight, the more likely someone is to unlock a powerful move on the spot. But there's a catch. Enemies get stronger based on how many battles you fought, no matter if it's against weak mobs or tough bosses. So if you go into fights unprepared or grind too much without a plan, the game pushes back, and hard.
Prepare to attack.
Feel my wrath. Let's end it.
A change in tactics. Interesting.
Let's get one thing straight. Yeah, this game's not an RPG, but there's no way I'm skipping it. Resident Evil 4 Remake is just too damn good. It's one of those rare remakes that doesn't just modernize the original, it elevates everything. The tension, the pacing, the action. It all feels tighter, more focused, and more intense without losing what made the original a classic in the first place. You're still stepping into the boots of Leon, sent to rescue the president's daughter from a creepy European village that clearly skipped every hospitality class ever. But this time, the world feels even more alive. And by alive, I mean crawling with enemies that really want you dead. The atmosphere is thicker, the lighting is moodier, and the detail in every ruined building, every foggy path, pulls you deeper into the nightmare. The combat? Way more satisfying. You've still got the over-the-shoulder perspective, but now movement is smoother. Aiming is more precise, and the gunplay has real weight behind it. You can parry attacks with your knife, kick enemies into others, and every encounter feels like a puzzle with multiple brutal solutions. The game also nailed the balance between action and horror. It knows when to slow things down and when to throw you into total chaos. The village ambush in the opening? Still legendary, but now it hits harder. Boss fights are redesigned to be more dynamic and dangerous. Enemies have better AI, and you've got more tools to fight back. But it never feels easy. And Ashley, who used to be a walking escort mission, is now actually useful and less of a headache to protect. And yes, Merchant is back with his iconic voice and even more gear to tempt you into upgrading and experimenting. And somehow, they managed to improve the pacing. The story has tighter writing, better dialogue, and a darker tone overall. It leans more into psychological horror without sacrificing the cheesy charm fans love. Leon still drops one-liners, but they land better, with more edge and less cringe. If you've played the original, you'll spot the changes immediately. But they don't feel like betrayals, they feel like upgrades. And if you're coming in fresh, you're getting one of the best action horror experiences out there, period. Hey guys, this is the second video in our series about the best remakes and remasters, so don't miss the first one if you want even more solid recommendations. And hey, if it means anything, I talked about my favorite Final Fantasy in that one, so yeah, you might want to check it out. While you're at it, help me out by subscribing to the channel, dropping a comment on each video, and checking out the deals on Instant Gaming. Every little click helps keep this channel alive, caffeinated, and slightly less broke.